It's syndicated radio talk show host, author, singer Al Cole, welcoming you to another edition of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. I come from CBS Radio. My shows are nationally syndicated, and I've helped pave the way to treating women, guys too, with the dignity that they deserve, and I do that on my show, People of Distinction, standardly aired on the top networks around, including the toppest airing CBS shows, and that's Apple's iTunes Radio Network. Under their professional news talk division, they air CBS shows, BBC, and Fox News, NPR, the whole kit and caboodle, C-SPAN as well. Top talk in the country around the world on Apple's iTunes Radio Network under News Talk. And I also have my People of Distinction Humanitarian Awards events. They are national events in New York, also on Capitol Hill, to members of the U.S. Congress, in Florida, Atlanta, other parts of the country. I'll tell you, I've honored over 100 national and international unsung heroes since 2013. And they're at my website, all of them. Run to my website, peopleofdistinction.org. That's peopleofdistinction.org, and you'll see all of my unsung heroes over the years since 2013. You'll also see my alliances with a whole bunch of national people. You can hear my shows there on my station page through Apple, everything, and my alliances with the great Ariana Huffington, the Huffington Post. And she's invited me into her Thrive Global Network. We love that. So check it all out. I'm a media consultant as well. If you need any help with getting your, profitability margin up with being an entrepreneur, I can help you out that way. I can help you to interview better, to make your interviews profitable, and to teach you how to make good living at social media these days and digital media, things along that line. So I want you to email me at alcoleholic@gmail.com. You heard me right. That's ALCOLEHOLIC@gmail.com. And I really want to thank my CBS Radio listeners for coming up with that handle, Alcoholic. Seemed like from day one, my listeners have been saying, Al, we love what you're doing there, brother. In fact, we're hooked on it. We're alcoholics. You gotta love that. Coming up, a guy who you're gonna love. His name is Chris Dawson. Now, boy, I got to creep up on this book title here, little by little, to tell you what it's really about. Called The Unexpected. Okay, so you never know really what to expect from the unexpected. We know that by definition. A lot of you are asking, Al, come on, you got to tell us what's unexpected about his book. What are we expecting that is unexpected? All right, I'm going to fill you in now. On the subtitle, it says it all, people. Wives who have affairs and the husbands who love them. Whoa. Now that is, that's stunning stuff there. Chris is reversing the tables. Wives who have the affairs, and then the husbands who love them. It's on Amazon, Amazon.com, The Unexpected. And I will say that Chris was brought to me by a great publishing company out there. It's called You Are Link. They offer that personal approach. So get on board with You Are Link. If you're an author, got a new book that you want to really get some visibility for, and I want you to run to this website, get involved. Go to yourlinkpublishing.com. Welcome, Chris, to People of Distinction with Al Cole. It's really a pleasure to have you on today. How are you, Chris?
Not too bad, Al, and thank you very much for the intriguing introduction. I agree that while extramarital affairs are not uncommon, but married women who start them, that is still unusual. It's almost a taboo in a way, but it's been changing. And there's an awful lot of ladies. It's not an uncommon thing today for the woman to start the affair. In one of my stories, I go over 19 different reasons why a wife might have or start an affair. And they don't call them affairs. They just call them, unexpected liaison.
Yep. We get it. Give us a few of those 19, Chris. What are some of those?
Well, one of the most common ones is the husband is a little bit small. If he's average, which is 6.75 inches, average of length, that may not be enough to give his wife orgasms or pleasure, certainly after they've had their first child or two. Another one, a woman who's dated for months a person that just turns her on and gives her orgasm after orgasm, but she realizes that he's really not marrying kind. Mm. And so she meets somebody that is marrying kind and marries him. And, you know, people get married for love and companionship, and it's the communication, it's the glue that keeps a marriage together. However, his boyfriend comes back to town and offers to take her to lunch. Yeah, what starts? Wow. And then with today's increasing presence of women in the workforce, a woman goes to work for a powerful man. It's his company. He started it. He knows what he's doing. He also knows how to seduce women. And here she comes in, back home, or her husband may be working too, but different job. So they succumb to the power of a new boss. Another time, woman might want to help her husband advance when the boss comes to her and says, we're looking at your husband to see if he's right for our new position, global head of marketing, and how much his wife supports him. Well, unless she's a dummy, she knows that she should do anything she can to help her husband. What about the wife who's a submissive in personality? She knows it, but she marries a submissive. She loves him, but she misses being dominated, and she runs into a dominant person. Another one, what happens if the husband has some ED, some major sexual dysfunction, some disease he cannot supply pleasure to his wife? Would he not be pleased if he really loves his wife that she has pleasure or gets pleasure? And as I think I told you earlier at one point, I'm been in the psychology field, and I've heard many of these stories by patients. I've been writing for more than 20 years, and in my professional life or personal life, my first wife had an affair, and I think was not at all upset, in fact, turned on by it.
I see. Now, Chris, you have said so much, and you came out of the gate talking about orgasms and penis sizes and things like that we can talk about on People of Distinction. It's an adult program here. Sexuality. We are sexual beings, and I like the way that you're really coming out of the gate that way. As a psychologist, as a man who realizes sexuality is so very important in a marital relationship. That being said, I want to throw the focus on a couple of things that you didn't say, or at least I'm not aware of in that lineage. They're being accentuated in any way. One is abuse. Now, we hear a lot about abuse these days, major mass media, the Me Too movement, and people women coming out of the closet and saying, I was abused. This man abused me when I was very young, or this or that. And you haven't mentioned that. You also didn't mention, at least not specifically, wives entering into affairs because, the husband entered into affairs before that. And now she's just getting back. Maybe she feels wounded. How did these two aspects fit into wives having affairs? The abuse aspect and also the husband who cheated on the wife first. Did they enter into this as well?
The first one, not so much. A woman who is abused or has PSTD, post-traumatic sexual disorder, or traumatic disorder, PTSD, they might get married and might or might not have an affair unless some of the other reasons are. In other words, that doesn't put a wife at greater risk of having an affair or of less risk of having an affair. Now, if a husband abuses his wife, that's a different story. And I think one of my 19 reasons even goes over the fact that the husband is not a pleasant guy to be around. And a woman, first time she meets somebody who treats her with respect, and that's the big thing. All these stories resonate with couples. We marry for love and companionship, but communication is the glue that keeps us together. And when that isn't there, there is problems. Now, the second one that you mentioned, where it's one of the things I call it revenge. If a man has an affair, a woman might just, hey, he does it. By gosh, I'm going to go do it. And if she's never done it before, she's going to make mistakes, but she's going to find somebody. And believe me, there's a lot of men out there whose eyes are open to a woman who is perhaps in the right frame of mind. For example, cougars, a woman in her 40s and 50s, and she thinks, gosh, where's time gone? So she loses weight, gets in shape, and her sexuality isn't there, but maybe her husband no longer has the same feeling of sex that she does. So both of those fit, but more so the revenge, I guess, or the woman who wants to sort of get even with her husband.
And husbands still love these wives, sticking with the wives after they know that the wives have had an affairs, Chris.
Well, it comes up in a couple of my stories, the husband who suspects the wife, but rather than being angry, he finds that he's turned on. Uh-huh. My gosh. And there are some husbands who, in fact, even to the point of encouraging their wife to have an affair because they know they can't get up. They know that they're of an unusually small size. They know that their sexuality is at its peak or past its peak, and they love their wife, and they somehow are turned on. There's a whole myriad of stories about a term called cuckolding, where the husband definitely wants his wife to have an affair. My stories are those where the wife has the affair and that the husband, I guess he may have been a closet cuckold. He turns out that he loves her. He still wants to be with her. One of the stories is a wife is compulsive. She cannot say no to a dominant man. And yet he still marries her, knowing that she's going to continue. A wife may go with her girlfriends to an all-male show and come home and say, "Oh, gee, I can't imagine the size of the penises that I saw." And the husband says, "Oh, heck, our friend Al has one."
Okay. I don't mind being the fall guy. Isn't that something? You're talking about maybe wife swapping.
Yes, but in general, wife swapping I don't think is much part of it. In other words, if I were a cuckold husband, I would want to see my wife being pleasured, see my wife having sex with somebody else, but do I want to have sex at the same time? No, that's not the issue. Most relationships of that nature, the men stay true because they get their pleasure from not only their wife, but from their wife being pleasured, watching it.
I see.
I have a couple of stories there. One of them, wife goes on the trip with the boss. He convinces her to pretend to be my girlfriend. And of course, that night, after alcohol and so forth, she loses her innocence. And then she says, now I don't have to pretend.
Mm.
And the story goes on, and when they get home, she tells her husband because honesty and communication is important. And he said, well, I would expect that. I know this guy. He's watched you many times. And she sets it up where he can watch. And that goes on with many, many different subsets.
Wives who have affairs and the husbands who love them. It's at Amazon, and you got to order that book. Let's take it out with, where do you see this going over the next year, 2 years, 10 years or so, especially with millennials? They're slower to get married. We know that. However, they do get married.
We sure are. You never can predict something like that. But with the increasing professionalization of women and their increasing numbers in the workforce and in positions of power, I would not expect this to decrease. I mean, each one of my stories that I know could happen anytime. They're not necessarily women. The affair is not necessarily with a younger man or not necessarily with an older man. It can be with any man who has got the cojones, as they say, to create the process. Do I know what will happen to the millennials? There's a book, Life After Google, we should all read.
I like that. All right, people. Teach these kids about love. And sexuality is part of love. There should be a course out there called Love. Get that? Hey. Now that's how we talk on People with Distinction. Chris Dawson and Sparks Alcove talk that way again. We love that. And you're going to love his book, The Unexpected. You got to run to Amazon and order that. Go to urlinkpublishing.com. Believe me, this has been a pleasure.
It's also been my pleasure. I like it very much. You are a professional in what you do, and thank you. You are a pro.